War Eagle, as they say down on the plains at Auburn, and we are taking you back in time on this edition of the Stingray Show to talk with a wide receiver who played at Auburn from 2001 through 2004. He was a member of the undefeated team in 2004 and played in 43 games for the Auburn Tigers, and he had the longest recorded touchdown reception of 87 yards from a reception from Jason Campbell in 2004 that stood until 2010. Silas Daniels joins us on this edition of the Stingray Show to talk about his career at Auburn and his career in professional and arena football that is ahead right now.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Heath, Stingray, Here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
It's a new year, and now is the best time to review your insurance policies. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi. For all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call the Jeff Nee Agency of AIFA Insurance to create a customized plan to protect your family's home and autos. You can stop by his office at 3428 McFarland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or simply call 205-462-8192, or call the number on your screen right there. And remember, with AIFA Insurance, the more you protect it, the more you save. Reach out to the Jeff Nee Agency of AIFA today for all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs. And with that, we want to welcome you inside the Tuesday morning edition of the Stingray Show on this March the 3rd. Hope all is well with you. And Heath, we have a former War Eagle player who played wide receiver in 43 games for the Auburn Tigers from 2001 through 2004 and was a part of the magical team that was in the book that Al Borges wrote called Deny of the Tiger, where they went undefeated. And that is the reason that we have the playoffs today, because they were snubbed an opportunity to play USC in the national title game.
You know, that Auburn team was fun
Yep.
back then. You know, Stephen, so many things have changed.
Yes.
In just the last few years. But, you know, this is, I don't want to say it's ancient history because it's not, but, you know, there was like some slow steps of progress of kind of getting us to the playoffs. And now we're like on an elevator going up. You know, we're on the staircase or the escalator. And now we've taken the elevator. We're taking it to the top so fast. You know, I loved when we talked to Houston Nutt of how many teams at Arkansas and Ole Miss do you think, you know, you guys would have made the playoffs, you could have made a run, you know, and talk to some of the other coaches and players as well. if the playoffs had been back then, because if you look, Stephen, there's been double-digit teams that have been in the playoffs the last 2 years that made the national championship game, if not won it.
Right.
So, you had 10 seeds. So, I mean, this is crazy what we're looking at. So, Miami was the 10 seed this year.
Yep.
So, I really wish we would have some of those teams back. But we're going to get to hear from a former player that would have been on one of those teams that I think would have made a very deep run.
Yep.
Will they win the national title? Let's find out what he says.
Heath, I do believe we've had a lot of former players on this show, but I do believe this is the first guy that we've talked to that actually played arena football. So he played college football, had a time in Canada, and then made a name for himself as well on the professional level in arena football. Please help us welcome to the Stingray Show, Silas Daniels III. Silas, how are things with you this morning?
Things going good. Glad to be here. Glad to be on the show. I'm thank y'all for inviting me.
Absolutely. So, Silas, I've got to ask you, what are you up to these days, and where are you coming to us from this morning?
Well, I'm currently in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm down here coaching high school football. I still give back to the kids. I still give my time. So I know I enjoy it. So it's it's a part of the game that I love and I miss, but I can also give back to the youth.
So I've got to ask you briefly a quick follow-up to that. Now that you are there at high school, give us your thoughts on the NIL and the transfer portal and how it is affecting high school recruiting.
Well, the transfer portal, when it was implemented, it was basically, I think it was threw in too fast, but it's a great thing. It's a great tool, but, on the high school level, it also gives the kids now, you got to take it serious because a lot of schools are not coming like they used to do in the past, and it's because they can go get people out of JUCO, they can get, players that have experience. So it's kind of detrimental to some high school athletes, how it was in the past. It was kind of, I'll say easier, to get there a little bit, but, now there's money involved, it's going to be more stipulations and guidelines for kids to follow. So, right. It's more for a high school athlete to be focused on their craft and also the school, it's times two now because it's tougher. So,
yes.
Silas, we're seeing things, high school kids not getting as many opportunities thanks to the transfer portal at the bigger conferences, the Power Four conferences. And a lot of kids are having to go to JUCOs or to smaller schools, prove themselves for a year or two, and then get on the field. There's good and bad with the transfer portal. There's good and bad in everything in life.
Yes,
right. It's all moderation. If you were in charge, Silas, if you were commissioner of college football, you're seeing it every day with high school athletes. You're there. Right. You're in the trenches with this. How would you make this better? Would it be better for the high school players with the opportunity? Would it be better for the college kids? Is there a happy mixture of both that can be attained, and how do we get that?
Well, I mean, I thought about it a lot, because I know as we play high school college football, we didn't have that.
Right.
Transferring was tougher. It wasn't even a thing of the past. It wasn't even a thing. So, I mean, now, I feel like kids and parents should be involved more, sitting at a round table with the school that's interested in them, just to give them guidelines of what to follow. Because a lot of these kids, they're just looking for the money. They're looking at that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They forgetting the grind. They forgetting, what it takes to keep that. You know what I'm saying? Just like when our scholarship, when we didn't have the money, we still had to do stuff in the classroom. We still had to do stuff off the field, as well as on the field, is perform to keep our scholarship. But now, the money being involved is more like a profession and a business and a job. So you have more, that you have to hold on to. You have to hold the image. You have to be liked by your peers and, the people you work with. And also your name got to carry weight. So with that, it's a thin line, getting in trouble and all those things. You have to put some of that things to the side, because it's your future, because, like they say, it's only 3% of the guys make it to the NFL. So this is like something that you can follow up on. And you can also, if you don't make it, you got something to fall back on.
Yeah. Silas, you played football, you came back, you started coaching high school football. The late Mike Leach said it. I think he said it best. He goes, some guys just need football in their life. They just got to have football in their life. Some guys need it for the structure. Some guys need it to stay out of trouble. Some guys need it because it is life to them. They love everything about it and feel like they got to give back to the game. Where do you rank in that? Do you have to have football in your life? Could you walk away from it? Could you be a banker? Could you be a real estate agent? Could you do another job, construction, whatever? Do you have to have football in your life, and why do you love it so much?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna start with me. Coming up, that's really, I played that, as a kids game in the yard, in the backyard and thing. But you have, you had a love for it. I mean, but at some point you got to understand it's going to go away. That's the thing we have to teach our kids. It's going to go away. You got to have another backup plan because you just can't be football. It wasn't taught to us like that because that's all we saw. There's a way out for a lot of us. A way out from bad situations. At home and just helping your family. To go up a level. It's certain situations that are made different, and football was a part of it, but it just can't be football. You got to have something else, just in case football don't work because of the injury aspect. How dangerous football is. You put all your eggs in one basket and something happens. Now what do you have to fall back on? So it's kind of like you got to have a balance. Like me learning now, that's what I teach my kids. Yeah, you can also get that scholarship, but if it doesn't work out, you got to have something to fall back on.
Right.
And so, with these kids today, they sometimes look at people for them. I need that money. I want that money. I want that. But it's a lot comes with it. And a lot of kids they miss it.
Silas, you might see this firsthand. There's been so many reports out there that majority, not a minority, not some, not a few, but a majority of college football players are sending this money back home to their family. It's helping their families. And that's a wonderful thing. It really is. It's also a dangerous slope too. But with that being said, what have you seen firsthand of some kids maybe going off to college, or maybe things that you've heard? They get money, they're sending it back home to family, and it's creating a great situation for everybody.
Well, I heard a couple of guys, they've, paid mom's houses, mortgages, and, I've heard them, buy vehicles, and stuff like that, and also help start businesses, for their family members, and it's a good thing, but I think at the end of the day, you still have to put a line on some of that because, and you have to know who you get to, because a lot of people can take it the wrong way, and then they'll just keep sticking their hand out. And that's what you don't want, you don't want somebody just looking at you because you're getting this money. I have to have it because of what I've done for you. I mean, if it's in your heart, it should be in everybody's heart. I'm gonna give you what you deserve and I feel like you should have. But when it gets to the point of I need, that's where the problem come in. Because now
those are big problems come in.
Fix somebody else's problem. It's a good thing, but it's also gonna be a bad thing. Just depending on what family you're dealing with, who are you dealing with. I feel like kids need to just, their immediate family, hey, take care of your immediate family. You're gonna take care of your mom and your dad. But all the other hands, that come out, it's kind of sometimes you got to learn that word no.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely that word no.
Yeah. Silas, you talked about growing up there in Jacksonville, Florida. What ultimately drew you to Auburn, and how did your recruitment process unfold? Especially talk about meeting Coach Tuberville for the very first time.
Okay, well, with my recruitment experience, it was kind of different because Auburn wasn't really on the radar at first. I had a ton of letters from Alabama. I had a ton of letters from Tennessee and Florida. And I talked to like Louisville, but really who was really on my radar was like Florida and Louisville was like my top two at first. Auburn was like, they was nowhere in the picture up until like my senior year. But like, Auburn came on strong at the end. I talked a lot with Coach Knox at the time. He was a receiver coach, Coach Dunn, he was a recruit. He was recruiting me at the time. So I talked to them a lot. And, they stayed persistent. They always stayed persistent with me, no matter what. They was the school that stayed persistent. They had the most, to give, and they worked with me, because I had issues. My test scores was kind of issue coming out of high school. I had the grade, but I just had to get my test scores up a little bit. So, I played that senior year. Steve Spurrier, he came at the time, he was at Florida. He came to the school, he came to my high school, and he came and pulled me out of class. Like, he came and pulled me out of class, and everybody's jaws are dropping and looking crazy. Like, who is he coming here to get? He coming to get me. So I'm looking around. The teacher don't even want to let me out of class. She don't even want to let me go. So
she must be a Florida State grad.
Yeah, I think I broke a rule that day because I'm gonna have to get rolled up because let's see Spurrier outside.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm talking to Florida, and it's like they were talking good at first, but it was a situation. They had this thing called Prop 48, where if you didn't have your test scores, you can go sign with a school, but you couldn't play until you get your test scores up, but you also had to give up a year. So I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I didn't want to do that at the time. I wanted to play as a freshman. I didn't want to give up a year. I wanted all 4 years. So Auburn, they still was coming. They was persistent. So I started talking to them, and every little need that I was bringing to them and my parents was bringing to them, they was meeting it. So I was like, oh, okay, they might be serious, So when I met Coach Tuberville he came on a visit to my house, they brought the whole coaching staff, everybody. So it was kind of a plus too. Like, okay, they got to be serious. They bringing everybody. I'm talking about they bringing Coach Lolly. I'm talking about the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the D-line coach, Coach Tuberville. Like 5 or 6 people my mom got to feed in the house. We got a whole little intersection going on right now. Yeah. So it was good. It was good. No interaction with them at first. They told me what they had prepared for me, where I fit in the offense. And, I just fell in love with Auburn at that time because they were showing genuine, they was genuine about the situation. So eventually I signed with them after my senior year, but I had another detour because I had to go to prep school. So that was my alternative of going to Prop 48, and I can go to prep school, which was valid for a military academy. I went to a military school, so I can go there, get my test scores up, I can keep my year. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was the best option. So I signed with them. I actually signed with Auburn twice. I signed with them in 2000, and then I signed with them again in 2001. So I actually had 2 signing classes.
Right. Silas, you mentioned Coach Greg Knox. Coach Greg Knox has a phenomenal reputation, and you got to play for him, and you got to be around him. Coach Knox, when Dan Mullen went to Florida, Coach Knox coached the bowl game against Heisman-winning Lamar Jackson and found a way to beat him with a skeleton staff. Mississippi State won that bowl game, actually there in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl. Yep. And then he goes down to Florida, and he takes over after Dan Mullen gets fired and finishes out the season. And then here just a couple of years ago, he was an off-field analyst in Starkville. And then, they make a coaching change. And instead of going with anybody on staff, here they are hiring Coach Knox to come in there. And next thing you know, he's riding 4-wheelers through the locker room before the game and bringing the team out in the field. But Coach Knox is a very well-respected guy. Administrators respect him. Coaches respect him. Players respect him. It just seems like everyone he comes across deeply respects the guy. Talk about Coach Knox, or tell us a fun story about him as well.
All right, when I first met Coach Knox, I mean, he was, like you see him now, he's all smiles. He's got the smile, the big smile. He gonna warm up the room, but he's a different guy on that football field. He's a hard nose. Yeah, he's hard nosed. He's a technician. He wants everything right. He taught me a lot. He taught me a lot how to look at the game. And just with my mental. Just my mind, instead of just looking at the X's and O's, you think the game out before you play it. Because he was real big on that. I came in freshman, I was raw talent, learning how to play the game, but he was firm. He didn't take nothing from his guys. He wanted to get it all out of you. He made you work, and it was like he demanded, perfection, So, he was really, I see why the coaches and everybody respect him, because he does know the game. He definitely knows the game, and he's a great people person to be around. We had tough times, because I was young, we had tough times, I could say, but I know he helped me in my future, as far as how I handle my mental mental, and everything around me.
Do you take most of your coaching philosophy and how you run practice? Did you take it mostly from Coach Knox?
I kind of like how I do my receivers. I kind of, far as the drills, I use that, and how he, used to give you that extra push through the drills. If you look like you're kind of slacking a little bit, he gonna motivate you, pep you up. He gonna say something crazy, to get you going, or he gonna take a jab at you to get you going. But it was all, just trying to get the best out of you, and that's what I try to do with my players. I try to bring.
What are some jabs?
I still run around with his cleats on the run. Yeah.
What are some jabs that he threw at you or somebody else?
Oh, it was like, drop a ball. He tell you to run to the trees. It's like a thing he had. You go to the trees. So like the trees is not close. It's probably 1.5 miles. We had this intramural football field to practice on. Yes. We had this intramural practice field, right? So just say if you loafing on the field, you walking around, you ain't running to the ball, you'll hear his voice, go to the trees, take you to the trees, right? So he gonna see you to the trees. So when you see the trees, it's about 1 mile. So you're gonna run about 1 mile. By the time you get back, he's gonna throw you right back in the drill. So you might be trying to get your air, he gonna throw you right back in the drill. You mess up again, he gonna send you back to the tree. So it's like it was like a constant, you better get your win. Because his thing was, as soon as you touch the green, your feet don't stop moving as a wide receiver. You're always moving your feet. No walking around. You're always running.
Did some GA or red shirt have to run with you to the tree? Make sure you touched it?
Oh, sometimes. No, it depends. It depends on who it is. Sometimes you go by yourself. Sometimes he'll send the whole crew. It just depends on how you feel. It just depends. It just depends on that day.
Now, Silas, going back to your recruitment, we have had some amazing Steve Spurrier stories on this show. Do you happen to have a fun interaction that you had with Steve Spurrier that you could share with us?
It could have been in high school. It could have been last week. It could have been on a golf course. It could have been anywhere. Any fun Steve Spurrier stories?
Steve Spurrier. Well, with him, the only really interaction I had with Steve Spurrier was, when he came to my school, and also I went on a visit. Actually, we had a 7-on-7 camp. We had a 7-on-7 camp at at Florida. So we was doing the we winning because we was winning most of the games. We had a pretty good team. So
right.
They came up to me. They was asking me what class I was in. They thought I was a senior because I was actually a sophomore at the time, right? So he was like, God Almighty, who was that kid right there? Because I was catching, I was on defense. I'm on offense, I'm getting interceptions. I'm scoring touchdowns on offense. So he came over and asked him why are we not looking at this kid right here? Why he doesn't have he's not on our radar? He was like, no, he's just a sophomore. So now he's looking like, I got 2 more years to wait. So now after every drill, he's like, you can see him watching. He's there. He's all over the place just watching me, just watching what I'm doing. But he just came up to me and he was just talk, small talk. It wasn't nothing really big, but he was like, just keep doing your thing. We're going to have you with a Gator helmet on like that, right? But, that's really the only experience. Other than that, he pulled me out of class. That was like the craziest thing, though. That was really the craziest interaction. He pulling me out of the high school class. Like, everybody was looking around. You should see the class. Everybody, the teacher, the only one that didn't know what was going on. That was the crazy
Did she even know who he was?
No, she didn't know. She just wanted to make me sit down. She was like, you need to sit down in your chair. Like, Steve Spurrier outside. Me and her basically going back and forth. He's standing there looking like, come out the class. Like, he calling me out the class. So I'm like, you about to get me in trouble, but I'm going to go ahead and go.
Was he wearing his visor in the school?
Yeah, he had the visor on. I wanted to see him slam it down one time, but I ain't making mad enough to do that. So,
right.
But yeah, he had the visor on and everything. Yeah. When I first seen him, I knew who it was. When I seen the hat, because I seen the hat first, I knew who it was. I was already halfway out the door already. So
Silas, getting to your time at Auburn, which coach or teammate had the biggest impact on your development as a player there at Auburn, and why?
Coach Yawks. Coach Yawks by far. Coach Yawks, the strength coach, by far. He was probably maybe number one why I am who I am today, far as how I look at things, because he, man, them workouts is, man, you can see why we was, every year we won games and then the last year we won undefeated because of his process,
Right.
Because once the season over with, you're his until next season. So it's like you couldn't run, you couldn't hide. It was no. The worst thing to do is be 1 minute early to the workouts. So be 5 minutes early. That was the worst thing to do. You better be 15 to 20 minutes early because you late if you 5 minutes. You're late. So it's like I experienced a lot with him. And, just I remember one time. This is my freshman year. This is my freshman year. So I'm in there lifting weights. So he was way on the other side of the weight room. I'm thinking he don't see me. I'm trying to skip a couple reps. So I'm tired. So I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and put this rack up real quick. I don't think he's gonna. I'm looking to see if he see me. He's not even looking at me. So I said, I can go ahead and put the rack down. As soon as I put the rack down, I see him peeking through the bars. So he told me. So he called me over there. Right? I'm thinking I'm good. You missed those last 3 reps. Huh? How did you even see that? See me at 5:30. If you say see me at 5:30, you got to see him at 5:30 the next morning. Or you go in that bubble. You go in there and do them push the board. And so that right there, it was just a lot of intensity with him. Like he brought the best out of all of us, really. Like there's no guy, he didn't look at no guy higher than the others. We had Cadillac Williams. He treated Cadillac Williams like a regular guy. Like he didn't, no matter how many stars you had or how many yards you ran for, you were the same. Everybody was treated the same. And he really got the best out of it. He got the most out of us. So I say Coach Yachts by far.
Silas, looking back at your recruitment, who gave you the worst recruiting pitch? Like, was it someone like, man, are you serious right now? Or was it some guy like, man, you're terrible at this? Like, LSU. What was the worst recruiting pitch you got?
I think LSU, and they're trying to say I was a running back. I think that was the worst ever. Like, I didn't even understand where they got running back from. Like, I don't even know. I was like 175. I'm like, I'm not going to play no running back in no SEC. I'm sorry. That is not going to happen. That is not even on my thought process. Or even they was pushing this running back thing, and it was like, I don't even know where they got that from. So I ended that one real quick. It was like it was really irritating. Every other team was coming as receiver. They was the only one that said running back.
Now, is Jerry DiNardo still there, or is Nick Saban taking over by that time?
No, Nick Saban was afterwards. Nick Saban was there afterwards. It was Jerry DiNardo at the time. Yes, he was there at the time during that regime. Yeah. So they was really on that running. That's when they had they had all the running backs that were down, like the Kevin Fawkes and the Cecil Collins.
Falk them up. I remember the shirts.
Yeah, Rondale Mealy, all those guys. I used to watch LSU a lot, they had a lot of good running back. But I don't know where my name came up. Yeah, Cecil Collins. I don't know where my name came up as a running back, but I mean, y'all, they had great backs, but I wasn't one of them. I wasn't about to try that. No, sir. No, sir.
So, Silas, let's talk about the 2004 season. What was the team culture like during that season, and how did the coaches keep the locker room focused as the wins continued to pile up?
Well, I can say our 2014 was real close. And, it was a lot of guys, a lot of us that was freshmen, we actually was seniors. We was the seniors now. So we was the ones leading the team. So, we was a tight-knit team. I can't say. That year was a real special year. And, the one guy that kept us together, like kept our team together, it was Brother Chet. He passed away like a couple years ago, but he was a team chaplain at the time. And he was really one of the main focal points of keeping the team together, because he had us like spiritually together. He had us on his Hard Fighting Soldiers. That's when we started the Hard Fighting Soldiers theme song, and we had the Locking Arms. He was a big part of that, and just not breaking the chain. Everybody locking arms, we are chained and we can't be broken. So it was like he was the one that really, in the off season, really just drove it home, and it stuck with the team. It kind of resonated through the whole team, and it was a powerful season. Like we really feel like nobody could beat us that year. Like we really did. Like we was calling on USC right after the Virginia Tech game. We on the ABC set. We won't play Virginia Tech tomorrow. We'll play them Wednesday. We was ready. I mean, we felt like we was left out. Really, we really felt left out. And that year was special.
Silas, I do have to ask you, during your time at Auburn, there was an offensive turnaround going from Tony Franklin to Al Borges. And Al Borges came in from the West Coast out in California. Talk about your interaction, please, with Al Borges, because Al Borges came on our show and he talked about he did not understand any of you guys being able to talk, and especially he didn't understand anything that Jason Campbell said for an entire season.
His exact words were, "No Mississippi in my huddle. Don't talk Mississippi in my huddle, Jason." I go, "I can't understand anything you're saying. Don't talk Mississippi in my huddle."
Yes, man. He used to always say that. That used to be the funniest thing ever, man. Like, he was always screaming out, like, "J Cam, I don't understand what you're saying. Don't talk that language in my huddle." Like, he used to always say that. But it used to be funny, because Borges was funny. Coach Borges was funny. He was a funny guy. We met him. He met with all of us when he first got there. He told us what he wanted expected, but he was funny. He was a funny guy. But he knew the game, and he knew what he could bring to our team. What was the thing that was missing? He really experimented with some things that a lot of coaches didn't in our past. He experimented and it worked, but he was a fun guy though. He never could understand none of us really. But when it was time to make it work, it worked. Yeah.
Silas, speaking of that, how did your involvement in the offense change from Tony Franklin's offense to Al Borges's, please?
Okay, so the year before, we had we had him, but we had like a lot of guys, calling the play. Because remember the year before that, 2002, we had Bobby Petrino. He was our offensive coordinator. So he had left abruptly, like right after that season, he left. So it left a void. So, a couple guys had to fill in that 2003 season. So it was really kind of like, and we was like ranked high when we came in the season. But, the lack of, offensive continuity kind of slowed us down, the first two games. But we got back on track. But going into 2004, when we got Coach Borges and he brought in the West Coast offense, he was implementing, I'm going to put my best guys on the field. And then he also, when he put Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams on the field at the same time, it also made our offense go to another level because you had the game plan for both of them at the same time. With the receiver core that we had, because we had a lot of guys that can make plays too. It was like 5 or 6 of us in a 6-man, 7-man rotation. And we was all getting the same amount of reps because we were always in tune to the offense. So it was kind of tough, when you got 7 receivers and you got 2 of the best backs in the country with a veteran quarterback. All we needed was a offensive mind. And when we got Borges, it just seemed like it was just a match made in heaven. Especially when he came in, he showed us what he wanted, and it was like it was complex. His offense was complex. Now that first playbook, I remember that first playbook I'm getting. It's like this, and it's the spring. It's like this. Wait a minute, man, hold on. I already got enough books in my book bag. I don't need this. This is too early. But he was a great guy. I learned a lot from him too. Just offensive schemes and just different stuff.
Silas, we've had Tony Franklin on the show, and he talked about all different philosophies and things like that. And I was kind of shocked when he mentioned again Mike Leach. Mike Leach has this whole play sheet on a napkin, a cocktail napkin, because it's concepts, it's not plays.
Right.
And you run that mesh, and then you got guys like you said, got the huge book. Mm-hmm. What would you rather have, or is it something in the middle? Do you want a playbook that's hundreds and hundreds of pages, or do you want one that's a cocktail napkin, or is it smaller the better? We're talking about you personally, not necessarily high school. High school, you got to kind of keep it basic. Yeah. But if you were playing college all over again, you could pick the playbook. What would you pick?
Yeah, I actually like that. But actually in college, you kind of need that big playbook because running the same thing in college is not going to work. So you're going to need to be really complex. You're going to need that, and then it's going to show you what kind of players you got. You know what I'm saying? What kind of players you're working with. So if you got a player that actually knows all the schemes, he knows all the checks and all the calls, instead of a guy that just, I see this, I do this. I would rather want the guy that's complex that can do things on the run or also can adapt to change. You know what I'm saying? Because like you say, we in the SEC. We in one of the toughest conferences in the country. So you're going to have to be with all these defensive coordinators, all these defensive minds. You got to be different. You got to be, different. You got to have different packages. You can't just run doing standard stuff. Unless, you want a conference that spreads it out like Mike Leach was. They was out there, they throwing it all over the yard, so, you probably wouldn't need all that because you throwing the spots. You got timing routes and all that. So it probably don't really need that. But I don't see it. That's why I didn't work in the SEC. That's why I don't really work like that, you know, because the defense is a complex.
Silas, going back to the undefeated season, walk me through your memory of the moment that the team realized an undefeated season was within the reach. Was it a specific game or a meeting that made it feel real?
I say the Tennessee game at Tennessee, when we played at Tennessee. I think that was the one that took us over the top. I mean, we knew we had a good team, but when you go to Knoxville and you beat them 34-10 on their field, you know, when you dominate them 31-3 at halftime, that's when you starting to see, like, I don't know, we might have something special here. You know, because that's one of the hardest places to play in, you know, especially with this 110,000 plus. And I can remember that night. It was out, like when we was in the tunnel. I can remember us coming out the tunnel, and all you can hear is just, you see orange and white, and then you just hear noise. And we like, when I first seen that stadium, that's the first time I ever seen that stadium in person, like actually on the field. And it was amazing. Like, I'm looking like, man, I hope we gotta have to quiet these people down because there's too noisy in here. But I mean, we got that win. When we got that win, we felt like we had some, because that was a tough road win. But we actually had the game won at halftime, actually. So it showed, and a lot of the guys we was like this, you know, the defense and all, no matter what happened, we was like this. Right. And it got stronger and stronger as the games go. But that was the pivotal game, I think, to me.
Silas, looking back, if the college football playoff was around back when you were playing, how do you think some of these seasons would have ended?
It would have been different. A lot of these seasons would have been different. It would have been a whole lot different. Like, if we had the 12-team playoff, I ain't going to say 14, I'm going to say the 12-team. If we had the 12-team playoff, yeah, it'll be, I mean, especially around the time we was, like, when our team was coming, it would have been tough because we had a lot of good teams in the SEC. Just like now, we had a lot of good teams. It was a lot of good teams. So it still would have been some people getting left out. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like. But it would have been, you know, they would have still had, you know, good teams in it. It would still give a lot of teams a chance. Because a lot of teams got snubbed, you know, back then, you know, without the playoffs. So a lot of teams got snubbed, you know, over the years. So I feel like it would have helped a whole lot. Definitely.
Silas, I know that you guys unfortunately were left out of the national title game, but looking back on that team and that experience in 2004, what does it mean to you to ultimately have an SEC championship ring because of that 04 season?
Well, you know, like I said, a lot of people don't experience the SEC championship, you know, and it's hard to get there, you know, it's hard to get there and hard to win. So it's like, to me, it's under that national championship. It's a sacred title to me. I love that. I mean, just saying I'm an SEC champion, you know, a lot of people can't say that. There's a lot of people that played in the SEC and haven't even got near it, you know, and just to get there, you know, it was a great honor, you know, to say that I was the SEC champion once before, you know, and I think it was like we had a couple other seasons, like 2002, we had a good chance, but we lost two key games that knocked us out of the playoffs, but knocked us out of the championship game. But, you know, just to have one and just to say, because I still got that picture, you know, the picture we took in the locker room holding the trophy. And I still, to this day, I still look at that picture and I still show it to like my kid. I show it to some of my players, you know, just, I mean, this what being a team is, you know, this what, when you be a team, you together, championships come, wins come. And that's a testament, you know, for my career, you know, and that's one of the main teams that I can always bring up, 2004. I can always bring that up as an example.
Yes.
Silas, looking at your playing career and that picture and the rings and everything, when's the last time you wore any of your rings?
It's been a while.
Where are they?
I got them at my mom's house.
Okay.
They still at her house, but I'm finna get them and get them back and put them in my collection. But they still at her house because she still got most of my, like, some of my stuff. I just got like pictures and I got some you know, something like a couple things like bags. I got all, like, some of my stuff, clothes. I still got jerseys. You know, I still got a couple of my bowl game jerseys. You know, but she got the ring. The ring's still over there though. Yeah, but I'm gonna get them back in my possession soon.
Silas, what you are known for, besides helping Auburn with that undefeated season, was the 87-yard touchdown pass that stood as the longest play for 6 years until 2010. Take us through that 87-yard touchdown versus Louisiana Tech. What did you see pre-snap? How did the play develop? And what was going through your head as you crossed the goal line?
I remember we worked on it. We ran that play in practice a couple of times, right? So when I heard the play, I already knew it's a chance I can get in this end zone. So but I saw where we was at, and I was surprised we even called the play. I was surprised we even called the play just coming off the sideline because we was already up, like we was up kind of big at the time already. I was surprised he called it, but when we did call it and we got the right cover because it was in man-to-man. So it was the right coverage and everything. So, all I had to do was my part because Jason Campbell, when I look back for the ball, it was right there. Like I'm looking back, the ball is right there. So all I got to do is my part to make the catch and run, But when I caught it, and the guy, he kind of hit my leg. When I stayed up, I'm like, oh man, I got a chance. So all I seen was green. I'm just running. I just see green. I'm running. So, but the play, it was executed well because we actually already had did that, and they say when you work on something in practice, and it executes, you got to bring it to the game. Right. So it worked. It was perfect timing. Actually, if you ask me, it was perfect timing. It was like, and then for it to be 2 yards longer than the actual record, it was crazy because it was just enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just, I guess it was senior day. I guess it was just supposed to happen. It was just it was meant to happen. There's a lot of good things going on that season.
And it stayed the record for Auburn for a good 6 years until Cam Newton hit Emory Blake on a 94-yard touchdown against Louisiana Monroe in 2010.
Yep. Yeah, I was surprised it stayed up there like that long. I was because I know records are meant to be broken, but 6 years, that's pretty long time, from the first time it was 20 years, it was before I broke, it was 20 years before that record was broken. So, I was just happy, it stood for a while. Cam Newton broke it. How can I get mad? I would love for Cam Newton to break my record, that's a great thing.
Which record did you break?
What was Lionel James? James had an 85-yard touchdown pass. And actually, he was my coach at one point in arena football. And that's how I met Lionel James. Yes, it was the funniest thing ever. Like it was like I don't know how that happened, but he was came our coach. And it was fun. It was fun being around him. Just an Auburn alum, and it was fun.
I got a question for you. Excuse me. I started 3 sentences at once. This is going to be rapid fire. And your answers are either going to be Ronnie Brown or Cadillac Williams. Okay.
Okay.
Who worked the hardest in the weight room?
Oh, I might say Ronnie Brown because that guy.
Who was more fun to party with off the field?
Both. I gotta say both. They kind of equal. I gotta say both because I'd have had a time with Ronnie Brown. I had a time with Cadillac, so I gotta say both.
Who had better taste in music?
I say probably Ronnie Brown.
All right. Who was better out of the backfield catching the ball?
Ronnie Brown.
Which one would steal your girlfriend?
They probably both would. They kind of like me and Ronnie Brown. They might both. They both might do it.
If you were in a street fight, who you want on your side?
I might go Cadillac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's better outside the tackles run the ball?
Man. I can tell you this story about that. I'm going to tell you one quick story about that. My first time ever seeing Cadillac Williams run the ball, right? We was in freshman year. So we in the inside drill, which is the D-line, the defense, the inner defense, the linebackers in the D-line against the offensive line and, and the fullbacks and all that, right? So the hole was probably this big. When he got the ball, the next thing you know, he was in the secondary where the safety at, and everybody looking around like, how did he just get through there? Like, what happened? Like, when the coach blowing the whistle, he on the other end of the field. We like the hole was crowded, but how did he get through there? So between them tackles, I say Cadillac win between them tackles. I see that man do some amazing things. I caught myself sometime blocking in the game, but I'm actually watching him run. Like, I want to see what he gonna do next. I'm like this, blocking, I'm looking at the play at the same time. So it's kind of hard. Like he was amazing between them tackles. Like he was, man.
Who's better outside the tackle? Who's better inside the tackle? You say Cadillac's better inside the tackle, so who's better outside the tackle?
Ronnie Brown. Say he better outside because he gonna punish you. What he gonna do once he get outside? It's up to your risk. And because you got to remember he was 230 at the time, 230 pounds. So once he get outside the tackles, what are you gonna do? It's a business decision for you. Are you gonna try to tackle that? Or you head on, or you go run to the side? What are you gonna do? Like a lot of DBs face that, a dilemma. What are you gonna do?
All right, my last two questions. Who was the better teammate?
They both was. I mean, they both was. Because they both in games. You can see it in games. They both, like, I remember in games, Cadillac down the sideline, pumping everybody up. Ronnie Brown doing the same thing. They was both on that level with that. They was good leaders. Both of them great leaders. That's why they carried us so far. Because both of them guys was basically on the same page with that leadership.
Right.
All right, and you're playing a game of pickup football, pads and all, in your prime, not now. You get first pick. Who you taking, Cadillac or Ronnie Brown?
Might take Ronnie because he can do more. He can throw and he can run and he can catch. I might pick him because I can put him at quarterback. I can also put him at receiver, and then sometimes just give him the ball. So, and then he can play defense. He can play defense too. So, I'll pick probably Ronnie Brown on that.
And that's probably why Nick Saban took him with his first pick with the Dolphins.
Yeah, because you see what he did. He wildcat. And he throwing passes. I'm telling you, that guy can do a lot. And he played baseball. I mean, he was like a high draft pick out of high school. Yeah, he was like first round, second round pick. But he pursued football.
So Silas, you had the opportunity to play college football, then went to the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Canada, which is different, and then played in arena football. Talk with us about the difference of the Canadian Football League and then going to arena football, because that one has a much shorter field.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start with the Canada. So Canada, is different because than the actual American football because of the field width. The field is much wide. It's like a soccer field size. So it's like they use the whole field. So it's like the end zone is 20 yards deep on both sides. The goal post is in front, and then you got the end zone behind it. Then also the rules as far as you got 12 players on the field instead of 11.
Okay.
12 players on the field. To take up the space, as far as the width and the length of the field, they add another player. And then also it was a rule that you got to have a certain amount of Canadians on the field. You can't have it overloaded with Americans. So if you got a formation, you got a half and half. So sometimes in the game, they'll call for you got to split the formation down to half. So you got to have 6 Americans and 6 Canadians. So it was kind of picking up on that. It was like kind of different, because like you just getting taken out the game because of the rule. You have to come off the field. Like it's not because of your play. It's not because of nothing. It's part of the rules. You have to be on the field and you have to put a Canadian in. So you might be having a good game, and then guess what? You got to come out just because of the rules. Like it was crazy. It was different. It was very, very different. And
did you like getting the running head start before the snap?
Yeah. So, I forgot about that. Okay, so the motions, you can go motion sideways or you can go up and down. You can start for the play. Everybody can go in motion. So you can have all 6 receivers in motion at the same time. Right. The only outside receivers can only can go in motion side to side, like lateral. They can't go backwards and forwards. The ones that's stationary. The ones that's off the ball, they can motion down the line. They can motion up and down. They can do anything. But it's like before the snap, everybody can get a motion. So the DBs really couldn't get a good jam on you because you can use the motion to your advantage. Like if I'm an outside receiver knowing I got an outside route, I'll motion in first to get him to move, and then I'll take an outside release.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of different. It kind of played to advantage to the receivers because you can move, and that's where arena came in because it's kind of like arena on that point, right? As far as the movement. But it was just the game. That was just it for me.
And then talk about arena, how that was different than the outdoor football.
Okay, so arena, you don't have any out of bounds. Well, out of bounds is over the wall, but it's not, you know, if you hit the wall, you still in. So it's like a lot of differences with that. The game moves I think the game moves faster because we're on a smaller field, because it was 25 yards wide. So if you can imagine being on a 53-yard field, this width, and then you shrink it down to 25 by 50, like you're basically playing in your backyard, basically almost.
Right.
So everything is happening fast. Yeah, everything was happening fast, and and little do you know, it's physical. Like arena football is real physical. Like it's a physical game. Like I didn't think it was that physical until I started playing. Like you can get knocked over that wall. I mean, man, it was crazy. Like it's a lot of things. I mean, I learned from arena. But number one thing I learned from arena, you have to be like, as far as a receiver, coming out your breaks, you have to be much quicker because it's less space for the DB to cover, you know, so you got to be quick out your breaks. Quarterbacks got to be on time, you know, or it'll be, because it's really an offensive league, but if you got a real good defensive scheme with great players, you can make it work, you know. It just based on who you got. That's all it was, based on your guys. Yeah.
Silas, I asked this question to a lot of our guests, and the answers differ, but there is one common answer. I'm going to see where it is, and it's a personal preference question. Of all your years playing football, when did you have the absolute most fun? Was it Pee Wee? Was it middle school, high school, college, your professional career, CFL, arena, whatever it might be? When did you have the most fun playing football?
I want to say really probably high school. I had fun in high school. I mean,
and why is that? That is the most popular answer.
Yeah, because really, like, I mean, after Pop Warner was fun, but it was like I was just learning the game. My high school was like I'm building towards. I didn't know what I was building towards until I seen them letters. It was fun getting letters to me. It was fun getting those letters. It was when you first seen that first letter. I want to get more. I want to get more of these. And you know, you seeing what your gameplay is actually doing. You know, and it was just that part there, just getting those letters. That was my goal every game. I'm trying to see how many scouts I can get to the game. I thought once I found that out. Because where I came from, you know, a lot of guys before me went to, you know, Division I. You know, I had Travis Taylor that played at Florida. You know, he was like, when I got in, he was a receiver. You know, so he was the main guy. So I had somebody to look up to. So I saw he went to Florida. I saw that. That's one of my things. So like high school was real fun. You know, I went to a school that was exciting. You know, we had like a lot of good things going on in that school. You know, I used to be nice size crowds. You know, I think the most I played in front of in high school was like 15, 20,000 one game. You know, it was a rivalry game, the backyard rivalry. You know, we always have big crowds. So it was just fun being at home, playing in front of all your family. Because my family used to come to the game too. So it was just like playing in front of them when I had them all there. You know, it was fun to me, you know, having them interactions after the game.
Silas, I have 2 questions left for you. This has been a lot of fun. The first one, you played in 43 games at Auburn. Which single play from your Auburn career do you still replay in your head, and why?
Well, I think the Alabama game my junior year, I think that was probably like the game for me because of I had to step up. You know, I had to step up and make plays because we had people down. So that game was like, you know, playing against your rival, you know, it's always fun, but it was just that game, you know, the ball was coming my way and I was feeling good out there. So, you know, that game always stick out to me because it was basically the game that they was trying to replace Tuberville. Do y'all remember that game? They were talking about replacing, right?
Oh yeah.
So that was really the game. You know, we as a team, you know, we went out there and put it on our shoulders, you know, to make it happen. So it was like that whole week. Like that game was fun. That whole week we was all like, we're playing for coach, we're playing for coach, we're playing for coach. So, you know, I just glad I was able to be a part of that, you know, and that was just a big game, you know, and I just had a fun time playing against Alabama, you know, because I remember my freshman year we played them, they beat us. And that was the worst experience to be at Auburn Tiger ever, to lose to Alabama. You do never want to lose to Alabama. I can tell all the recruits now, if you go to Auburn, please don't lose to Alabama. If you go to Alabama, same thing, you know, you don't want to lose because that whole year, 365 days, man, it's rough. I remember that time. You know what? That whole time, I could say that year, like learning the Alabama rivalry. I didn't know anything about Alabama rivalry, like how the extent of it was, the extent of the rivalry, until we lost. Man, we heard that every day. Like, you know how they used to put the posters up in your locker, reminding you of games, and that's all we saw. The score 31-7. 31-7 everywhere. What are you gonna do about it? 31-7. We had 2 of these at the bowl site. Before the bowl game, we had 2 of these because of we losing to Alabama. We had to do 2 of these again. So we practiced 2 times before the bowl game. Then went to the bowl and we practiced hard, but we ended up losing because we was all beat up. Basically. So it was like, man, we had a mass unit, everybody hurt.
Silas, my final question for you is this, and I love asking former Auburn players that played during this time about this. Since you played for Coach Tuberville, how surprised are you that after coaching, he got into politics?
I was surprised. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I was very surprised. But
Right.
I mean, because a lot of us probably didn't see it coming. But I mean, the way he carried himself, because he really he had interactions, with the players, but he was kind of he had his chill guy, laid back guy. He only showed his fire when he needed to,
Right.
and he had passion. He let it know, he let it be known. His passion about things that those topics or whatever, but being a senator, I didn't see it coming, but
Right.
I can see why. I
Yeah.
can see why he's a senator.
And Silas, what is the maddest on the field or in a practice that you have ever seen Coach Tommy Tuberville?
Oh man, it's a few times, but I know it had to be a time we was playing LSU. I know it had to be one of those weeks because that was one of the weeks he was really, he was more than Alabama. I think he wanted to beat LSU more than Alabama actually, because it seemed like that week he was more in tune to practice. He was more, I'm finna throw the hat down and make some people run. Oh, that's when when he do that, sometimes he don't say nothing too much at practice because he interacting with the fans and everything. But when he want to let it be known, he gonna blow that whistle. When he blow that whistle, yeah, it's a problem. And I think during that week, my senior year, yeah, he had a couple times during special teams practice. Yeah, during special teams practice, he used to get mad during that practice because that's the one he actually ran. He actually ran special teams practice, so he actually was over the special teams. So he used all the time. We'll be on the other field. We can hear him 2 fields over. Do it again. Do it again. He going crazy. You don't run down on that special team if you don't want. That might be the last time you play special team.
Right.
Silas, right. I got a great friend I grew up with, up the street from me. Now he lives a couple of streets over from me, and massive Ole Miss fan. And when Coach Tuberville was at Ole Miss, he gave him a nickname of Coach Wingnut because he said those ears were just so big. So he looked like a wingnut. And I remember him telling me that. But the very first time I interviewed Coach Tuberville at SEC Media Days, I've seen on TV how big his ears were, and I didn't think anything of it. When he walked in that room, it looked like 2 satellite dishes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my dear Lord, those things are massive.
Yeah.
Did y'all have a name for Coach Tuberville? Some kind of nickname that he didn't know about that y'all call him? Was it Dumbo? Was it, Wingnut? Was it? Did y'all make fun of his ears?
We made fun of the ears, definitely. We definitely made fun of it. We didn't give him no name. We just made fun of them because they were just, they were like you say, I know he can hear everything. We can't even whisper around him, man. He go hear it. We got to go talk outside the building because he go hear it. Yeah, but I don't think we really gave him a name, but I know somebody probably did, but I don't remember the name. But I ain't gonna, if we did have a name, I know somebody probably did. Because we used to definitely laugh at them ears, for sure.
Right. So y'all would make fun of his ears all the time, huh?
Yeah, for sure. People did, yeah, for sure.
Would y'all do it to his face?
No, you wasn't doing that. No, you wasn't doing that. Not at that time. No, sir. No, sir. Do that on your own time.
So, Silas, this has been so much fun. We really do appreciate you joining us. The floor is all yours for anything else that you would like to say to the Auburn War Eagle Nation.
Okay, what I like to say is, I enjoyed my time, playing for Auburn, and I definitely love the fans, because they always, show me gratitude, respect, they always show love. So, I just want to say I was just glad we was able, to give y'all some good times, just, some hope, some wins, championships. And, I just want to say I'm always rooting, for our team. I'm always watching, and I'm always behind the Auburn faithful, because they were definitely behind us. There's a big part. And I miss Tiger Walk. I definitely miss Tiger Walk. That was really a big interaction with the fans. I always enjoyed that part, always. And I just want to say I'm thankful for playing for Auburn,
And Silas, with you being from from Jacksonville and being there in Florida, what are your expectations for Auburn under new head coach of Alex Golich?
Well, I mean, I seen the changes he made. I just, he got some good players that came in. I done seen, the quarterback, the players he got in South Florida. I done seen them guys play. I feel like they can fit in the mold. I understand what he's doing. He trying to, bring a little change. I mean, change is needed. I mean, you see, we was off by a little bit last year. I mean, we had some games we lost. We should have won plenty of them. Like this, like you say, this. We were this close. 7 points or less. We lost in 5 or 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so he got I like his coaching style. He a real fiery coach, but his players love him. You know what I'm saying? That's why they all want to follow him. And once you see that, I mean, that tells you a lot about a guy. I feel like and he a young coach, so he should be relatable with the players. So that'll be a good thing.
So Heath, any final words from you?
No, Coach Wingnut question was my last one. Those satellite ears.
Hey, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna send you a message. I'm gonna find out the name. If we did have a nickname, I'm gonna ask some of my guys did they have a nickname. I'm gonna definitely send y'all a message and let y'all know what it is, though.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So Silas, look, man, closer to the season and during the season, we would love to catch up with you to talk about the Auburn wide receiver room and the Auburn Tigers this fall as we talk about SEC football, okay?
Okay, that's cool.
So, all right, man, well, you have a wonderful rest of your spring. Thank you for joining us. And as always, War Eagle, my friend.
War Eagle. Y'all have a good day. War Eagle.
You too. Thank you.
Take care, brother.
No problem.
Dude, that was awesome.
That was a fun interview. It was fun.
Heath, what are you up to this week? Or I should say today.
Oh, man. I've got to quickly, the word quickly I have to stress, I have to quickly design a 7 and 8 year old baseball uniform with fonts and colors and socks and belt and get the whole thing from top to bottom. And I got to do the same thing for a softball uniform. I got ideas in my head. I know where I'm going, but I got to do that quick. But I am making out a new lease for another rental property and keep a renter there that I've had for several years. And I've also got to get just a mountain of paperwork done, taken care of. So, I mean, it's just crazy. I did have doctor's appointments that I had to take everybody to, but my mom's got pneumonia. My kids have got the flu, my 2 little ones. So, yeah, we had to cancel a lot of appointments this week.
Heath, stay safe, stay well, and tomorrow morning we actually have another SEC legend, and yes, I'm calling him already an SEC legend. I am going to pop his picture up here on the show. Super Mario Alston from Mississippi State joins us in the morning at 8:15 to talk about his career at Mississippi State and then, of course, his long career overseas in Europe and other countries as well. So join us in the morning at 8:15 Central when we will be talking with Mississippi State basketball legend Super Mario Alston. And Heath, you can tell he is really into that play by the look and expression on his face right there.
Yeah, he flexing too. The juice is flowing. He's a little excited.
Yeah. So we will be joined by Mario Alston to talk about his career at Mississippi State, and really do want to thank Silas Daniels for joining us today to talk about Auburn. And the Stingray Show is out, and we will see you tomorrow. And Heath, I'm not going to say what Coach Cutcliffe says. He hates what everybody says about Wednesdays, so I am removing it from my vocabulary.
Oh, it's all right, Stephen. He's not going to hunt you down.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Sayonara. We'll see you tomorrow. Good Lord willing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. It's a new year, and now is the best time to review your insurance policies. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi. For all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha Insurance to create a customized plan to protect your family's home and autos. You can stop by his office at 3428 McFarland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or simply call 205-462-8192, or call the number on your screen right there. And remember, with Alpha Insurance, the more you protect it, the more you save. Reach out to the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha today for all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs.